Kriya Yoga is one of the most powerful forms of yoga that you can practice because it grants you access to a meditative state that frees you from one-pointedness, which is the condition that most people are forced into in our present age. But if you look up Kriya Yoga on TikTok or YouTube, you're going to find a lot of videos of New Age practitioners of pseudo-tantra who are shaking viciously, going into convulsions. Now, this can occur as a result of many different forms of yoga. You can have involuntary movement in the body. However, reading the energetic signature of these videos and observing the knowledge base of the practitioners, we find that they are not practicing Kriya. This is Kriya in name only. What these people are subjecting us to is their compulsions that they have decided to tape and present to you on the internet as some sort of evidence of enlightenment. But really what they're seeking is affirmation of how special they are because they exist in a state of absolute unrefined poisonous ego. They have not undergone the process of overcoming what is the greatest challenge in the Sahasrara, which is where they're all headed towards in their New Age practice, because there is this bias towards the Sahasrara and solar masculinity. What they're heading towards is pride. Pride is an aspect of that state of consciousness that is very poisonous. And so what we see here is the affirmation of unrefined ego expressed through pride, not Kriya. Kriya is a way of overcoming the unrefined expression of pride in the poisonous ego. Because through Kriya, we can enter into an active state of contemplative meditation. Now, that might seem like a contradiction on its face, because how can you be both active and contemplative at the same time? Well, we exist in the age of Shakti, meaning that we exist in an active age. And within an active age, there is an active form of every state of consciousness. So, if you are acting from a contemplative root, if you are engaged in contemplative meditative practices, so, for example, accessing the mind, which is a place of contemplation, and then utilizing active practices in order to explore the mind, what you are doing is you are combining the active yoga through Kriya with a base in contemplation. Simultaneously, you are able to exist in a contemplative state and an active state. And we do this through certain meditative exercises that allow us to enter into that Kriya flow state. I'm going to give you an example of this. Trataka is a meditative exercise that is utilized very commonly in Viagra Yoga. It is a fundamental meditative exercise because in Viagra Yoga, we attempt to enter into a Kriya meditative state first before exploring one-pointedness. Now, most schools of meditation teach one-pointedness. One-pointedness means that you are focusing on a singular point, such as the tip of your finger, and you are willfully throwing away all potential distraction. If a thought comes into your mind while you're focusing on the tip of your finger, you throw it away. If there's a sound in your environment that comes into your awareness, you throw it away. The idea is that you eliminate all experience save for that singular point of focus. This is one-pointedness. Now, this is a valuable meditative state. We want to be able to access one-pointedness at will and utilize it for certain outcomes. But this state is very difficult for most people to access in a healthy manner unless they have a foundational understanding of the Kriya flow meditation. Because most people are forced into a one-pointed state in our contemporary age. When you go to work, you have specific tasks that you have to focus on, and any distraction must be thrown aside. When you are a child and you are thrown into the public education system, you are told to focus on the words of the teacher. Don't look at your fellow students. Don't look at your book. Don't look out the window at the clouds in the sky. Just focus on the singular point, one-pointedness. Because if you were to draw your attention away from that singular point in your workplace or in the classroom, you might realize that you are being controlled. You are totally under the thumb of the overseer, whose job it is to keep you focused on that singular point. Even leisure activities in our contemporary age are focused on a singular point, like staring at a television set until you drift away into a state where you are easily manipulated by the messages that are programmed directly into your mind. So, taking a Kriya approach to meditation is a radical means of resisting the tyranny of the one-pointed state. And how do we do this? Well, when we bring our focus to the tip of the finger, we recognize that the tip of the finger is the anchor point for our meditative exercise. And now, as we focus on the tip of the finger, certain thoughts begin to arise, sounds in our environment, sensations in our body. What do we do with those thoughts and sounds and sensations? Do we throw them away? No, we don't throw them away. What we do is we allow them to exist. We allow those sounds, those sensations in the body, those thoughts to come in and out of our awareness freely, without interaction. And in doing so, we remain active in applying our will to focusing on the tip of the finger, but we remain in a contemplative, passive state by allowing all of these thoughts, sensations, emotions, stimuli from the outside world to come into our awareness. And what does that do to your consciousness? What does that do to your mind? What does that do to your awareness? Well, if you can focus on the singular point and allow everything to flow around you, what happens is you are reducing your reactivity to stimuli. If a thought comes into your mind and your immediate response is to throw it away, this is a reaction. If a sound comes into your environment and your immediate response is to block it out, this is a reaction. So what that type of one-pointed meditation is doing, throwing things away, what that's doing to you is it's making you into a more reactive person. That's no good, because the idea behind meditation is that it's a state of being that is intended to be maintained throughout the day. So it's not that we just enter into a meditative state when we are in the midst of our practice. We want to be able to stay in a meditative state while we are awake, while we are asleep. You should be, if you're an advanced practitioner of Tantra, you should be able to maintain a meditative state consistently, an unbroken line of meditation from the moment that you wake up throughout your dreams, your entire sleep cycle. Everything should become meditation. Now, imagine trying to exist in a constant state of meditation where you are throwing away every thought that comes into your mind. You're throwing away every sensation in your body, throwing away all of the stimuli that comes to you from the outside world. That is not sustainable, nor is it a position that allows you to operate in affirmation of life, because everything becomes distraction. At that point, everything becomes poisonous to you. Everything becomes a problem. But if you can take the Kriya approach and allow these experiences to come into your awareness freely, you become one with the experience. You become passively aware of your environment and passively aware of the internal state. Now, this is something that most of our ancestors had direct access to. Because imagine this: if you're hunting every day, if your livelihood is reliant upon hunting and gathering, and you travel into the wilderness, you cannot be focused on one singular point and succeed. You have to be passively aware of your entire environment. If you're not passively aware of your entire environment as a primitive hunter in the wilderness, you're going to be attacked by a wolf or a bear. You're going to take the wrong step and fall into a ravine. You're going to miss an opportunity to shoot a deer or a rabbit. So, the act of entering into nature, the chaos of nature, all the sounds and the smells and the sights, all the sensations in the body, this is a natural environment for meditation, for Kriya meditation. But we rarely in the present age have access to that type of environment. And most of us do not hunt every day in order to secure our livelihood. Instead, we're forced to enter into a one-pointed state. And this encourages reactivity. And of course, this is beneficial to those who control the system, because those who control the system want you to be reactive. They want you to respond to stimuli, either through annoyance or through some embrace of what is shown to you. Just so long as you are reacting, you are controllable. So one of the greatest ways that you can gain your autonomy is by eliminating this reactivity. And you do this through Kriya. Kriya itself is a word that means activity or practicality. It's an active approach, okay? And that doesn't mean activity in the crass sense, like what is represented in the New Age videos, where we're just throwing our body around in random directions. That's not Kriya. Now, you can use physical movement as part of a Kriya practice, but only with a recognition. Now, you can use physical activity as part of a Kriya practice, but only with recognition of the fundamental meditative state that you are trying to access in the process of Kriya. So long as you keep your awareness on the passive aspect of meditation and you bring yourself away from one-pointedness, you will be able to access the benefits of Kriya and practice it properly.